So hi everyone, this is Shafiq, the founder of the Crypto Hub here at the Binance Blockchain Week. And I have the pleasure to have the co-founder and chairman of Animoca Brand, Yat Siu, with me. Yat, it's a pleasure meeting you.
Likewise. Thank
So
you for
how's
having
it
me.
going with you here at the Binance Blockchain Week? How's the event been so far?
It's great. The energy is electric. Everyone's having a good time, and it's a pretty big day today, right? So I think everyone's really excited about what's to come. Yeah.
Definitely. So, you're one of those leaders in Web3 that we see running around everywhere. And I mean, your face is right at every event and anywhere there's anything big happening. And, I just was all, curious, how do you manage to go around and still be approachable so easily?
Well, I mean, it's challenging in terms of time-wise, but for me, it's really about evangelizing the space. So, part of the mission is around mass adoption. And how do we create mass adoption? It's not just about sort of, the products and services. It's also sending the right narrative and explaining to people what our industry is all about, not just in the Binance and the blockchain industry, like here with Binance Blockchain Week, but also beyond that, right? Which is why we work with a lot of traditional brands and traditional companies and traditional events as well. But yes, I mean, I think it's very mission driven. We're very passionate about this, which is probably why I can still have the energy to go from place to place.
Amazing. I mean, keep it up. And of course, Animoca has been at the forefront of Web3. And if I understand, you've invested in almost like 500,
540 plus companies.
540 plus companies.
Yes.
So what is the mission now for Web3? I mean, how are you planning to transform this space?
I mean, the mission really is still about digital property rights, which is what we said in the beginning. But what is digital property right? What are you owning? It's owning a piece of the network.
Yeah.
So it's the network asset, right? Whether this is Bitcoin or BNB or Mocha, whatever, you're owning a piece of whatever that network represents. And we actually think that by having everyone own essentially tokenized assets, it's a way to create true stakeholder capitalism, one where we can all own a stake in the network that we help construct. I think that's a very big vision, because today, for instance, think about our relationship with products and services. For instance, Apple, one of the biggest companies in the world, has like 80,000 shareholders, right? But how many hundreds of millions of people use Apple products? And why aren't Apple product users who give value to the company not stakeholders of Apple in itself, right? That to me is something, however, that's not possible in the TradFi mechanism of equity, but with tokenization, you can do that. And that to me is really the big potential. You make it more inclusive, more equitable, and frankly, more fair.
Amazing. And I think that's the power of Web3.
Exactly. And everyone actually gets to benefit in the value chain, which is the other thing. In Web2, really only the top 1 percentile get to benefit from the value chain. But in Web3, everyone gets to benefit from the value chain.
Amazing. And we've seen you in Dubai and the Middle East quite often, and I've heard about your focus on, also your partnerships with Neom.
Yes, in Saudi, that's right.
Yes, exactly. And what are your plans for Middle East in general?
Well, it's one of the biggest growth markets in the area. Demographics is quite young, very digitally connected community. In places like Saudi, for instance, I think like 85, 86% of everyone of the population is youth, effectively, or young, and they're all playing games, right?
Yeah.
And that to me, therefore, makes just sense, not just because of our gaming portfolio, but also because it's a digitally native market. And I think this is true for UAE, and it's true for places like Turkey. So the MENA region, I think, is very, very ideal for this. Also, beyond that, right, when we look at, for instance, more of the sort of sub-Saharan and sort of African area, actually there's a large market that is unbanked. And again, the whole Web3 technology, blockchain, actually will help bring people who are unbanked into a financial framework, as we've seen in places like the Philippines and Southeast Asia. So we see all of the similar sort of touch points that we've seen before.
You mentioned actually Africa and sub-Saharan region. Actually, coincidentally, I just came back from a very unique event called Eat Safari, which took place in Kenya. So on that point, I mean, what are your plans for Africa specifically?
So I mean, for us, it's mostly on the investing side. We actually don't have an office there or anything like this. It's kind of a very different market.
Yes.
And that's actually how we normally do it when we look at a market for the first time or early. We invest in it and we study it a little bit before we actually decide to go into deeply, not because we don't think it's got big potential. I'm with you there in terms of thinking that Africa is a huge potential, but it also requires the right people and an understanding of the market, which we'd be the first to say is still foreign to us.
Amazing. Yeah, I can relate to that because that was my experience. But as you said, there is a lot of talent and there's a lot of passion.
And there's a need for it.
There's a need for it as well.
So I mean, we saw similar patterns in South America, but in South America with teams like the Sandbox, we had already an office in Buenos Aires, and we had people that understood the market, so it made sense for us. We don't have that yet for Africa.
I think that's something definitely that could be looked
Possible,
into.
yeah, of course, yes.
So coming back to Dubai, which obviously is the crypto hub, undoubtedly, or at least one of those.
One of the main
ones for sure.
That's right.
So what is your presence like here, and how are you feeling about the ecosystem that is being provided?
I mean, it's incredible. We have an office that's been growing here, obviously still fairly small. So many of our portfolio companies that weren't in Dubai have moved to Dubai, for instance, right? And also Abu Dhabi. So this is a very natural hub for us. Also, because we're having more and more developments in Saudi, Dubai is actually a natural sort of, I guess, stepping stone or a hub for that, because there's not that many direct flights going to Riyadh, but basically almost the whole world flies to Dubai, for instance.
Exactly.
So again, it's a very, very natural hub. And a very sort of natural connecting point for that. So we'll continue to invest and grow in the space, and we also expect more and more of our portfolio companies to be here. I mean, I think we're 20 or 30 companies here. We might probably be 100 very soon, I don't know, but certainly it's very welcoming.
Amazing. And obviously I wouldn't take too much of your time. I know you have many people waiting for you, but finally, for potential partners of Animoca that would like to work with you guys,
yes,
what is it that you're looking for? What sort of projects or what sort of partnerships?
It really depends. We're kind of a multifaceted sort of corporation in that sense. If you're looking for investment in areas, we've got people focusing on things all the way from deep in AI to obviously gaming, culture, entertainment. So we're very, very sort of diverse that way. So on the investing side, it's pretty obvious. But actually, when it comes to the product side, working with the Mocaverse team or on Moca ID, the digital reputation layer, I think that's actually an area that if you want to work with us is a good entry point. It's free to start using Moca ID and build a relationship with that ecosystem. The other one, of course, is on education with Open Campus, and of course with Sandbox on the metaverse. So we have different subsidiaries or groups that we work with closely, that if you work with them, you kind of come adjacent with us as well. For instance, we're the largest validator for TON, and we've built a lot of and invested in a lot of companies that support the TON ecosystem. Similar thing, for instance, where if we can help build that ecosystem, if you're building there, then you can come talk to us as well, and we can see how we can help you. So it's not one thing, shall we say.
Okay, and what would be the top 3 things that you would want to convey to to the builders in this space that they should actually focus on when it comes to building their products and brands?
So the very first thing I'd what we tell founders and actually use a project to think about is think about the strength of your network effects. When you build a token infrastructure, what you're actually building is a kind of network, and that network is only as strong as the network effects within it. And so that means you need to have, for instance, Sybil resistance. That means you need to have a reputation system. How do you know that the user is a real user or not just a bot that's farming your token, for instance? That's a big problem we have in the industry. So basically, think about the strength and the power of your network effects and how you enhance them. And if you can enhance them better, right, then actually you will grow more value and grow a stronger community, right? I think of it a little bit like friendship, right? If you have good friendship, they're solid, then they're bound by many things, and the network becomes really strong. So find your 1,000 true fans and build that out, which is why NFTs and token infrastructure is very powerful. And the other one, I think, I like to tell people that if you can find a mission and a purpose that is greater than your own, then you can build a following that is very powerful. One of the challenges that sometimes people have in our industry is they do it for the money, and that's okay. But the problem is that that's not a strong mission, and you can make money many other ways, meaning that a project that is building for money has a very short cycle, normally, right? But a project that is building for long-term value, that is mission-driven and purpose-driven, is one that you can think about where it's going to go for the next 10, 20 years.
I think those are very valuable key points. And finally, I know, Animoca or you don't really need an introduction, but for the sake of the viewers, what are the best ways to connect with you? If you could share your socials.
Sure. Yeah. I'm mostly on X at YSIU, but also you go to animocabrands.com. We write stuff. I've got a Medium, Yat Siu as well, but also on LinkedIn, Instagram, and of course Animoca Brands has also our research site. So if you want to go, just follow that. We post regular research and of our portfolio and of the stuff that we invest in.
Thank you very much. It's a
Thank
pleasure.
you. Pleasure.
So that's Yat Siu, the co-founder and chairman of Animoca Brands.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.